welcome to Partner Solution Bites. I'm Moose, and joining me today is Kale Temple from Intellify. Welcome, Kale.
Thanks, Moose.
So, Kale, machine learning is a hot topic in the market today, and you specialize in this domain. So, can you tell me what kind of challenges do you see customers encountering?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenges that we've seen is customers understanding what's the right starting point. And the reason being is that no customer wants to have a bad experience when they want to first experiment with ML AI. And so what that means is they need to be aware of what are the really important things that they pay attention to. From our perspective, that's typically, what's the value that this use case is going to create for the customer, but also thinking about some of the feasibility considerations. And what we've found is that some customers either aren't aware of or they don't pay as much attention as they should have to those two different dimensions.
Right, so the first step is often the most difficult one to take in any new domain. Okay, so what have you built to, help customers through this, to help them figure out how to get started with machine learning?
So we built a framework called Innofy, and it's designed to help customers discover the most valuable ML AI initiatives for them. And effectively, it's us working with a customer to identify where they're headed, what are their most important business objectives that they're looking to achieve, and then how can ML AI support that particular customer on the journey, making sure it generates that value over time.
Right, so Innofy is really an assessment framework in that sense. So what is the output? What can the customer expect to receive at the end of this engagement?
Yeah, so typically it's a roadmap of vetted initiatives where we've got some clear value that's been called out for the customer, so a return on investment. What are some of the assumptions behind being able to successfully deliver that particular project? What's the time, and also what's the investment from that customer, either for their teams or our team to come along and support that use case?
Right, so it's a clear roadmap with these use cases will bring you benefit. This is roughly the order in which you should be implementing them. Okay, so that's, that should really help a customer figure out, how do I get started with this domain? One question, if I'm a new customer, what are the prerequisites? Do I need any machine learning knowledge, any prior experience? Do I have to have a data science team?
What we find when a customer wants to go through a process like Innofy is the fact that they don't have any existing in-house knowledge. And so we purposely bring all of that knowledge and experience to be able to support the process. So we bring our data scientists and our data engineers into the process to be able to help, share that knowledge and qualify some of the existing opportunities that the customer wants us to seek out. So all that customer really needs to understand is where is their organization headed and what's important to them internally. And then we use our knowledge on top of that as an additional layer to be able to then provide that roadmap.
So it's suitable for any customer. You don't need that prior experience to get started.
Exactly.
Okay, that sounds really good. So what's the engagement model like, right? Again, just assuming that I'm a new customer interested in Innofy, what's sort of that engagement model? How does that work?
The first thing that we typically do is to figure out who is the person who wants to be able to do ML AI. The reason being is that we need to align with them in terms of where they see the vision being for ML AI inside the organization. Once we've been able to align with that person, the next thing to do is to think about where is the business headed. So we typically do a review of the business strategy. And once we've been able to review that business strategy, it's then working with the executives within each of the business units to understand what are their opportunities and challenges over the next 12 months, so we can make sure that the initiatives that we identify are supporting and are aligned with that. After we've been able to get all of those ideas, we then go through a prioritization exercise with that same executive group, so we can make sure that there's alignment amongst them in terms of how these things should be prioritized. And then after that, we call out the clear value for each initiative and also the cost and the time to associate that. So everyone is on the same page and has alignment in terms of what we should be pursuing when, what's the value behind these use cases, and how quickly we should be doing them.
Okay, and this sounds like quite a customized process depending on maybe the size of the customer, how many use cases are they looking for, how many business units. So really it can be customized depending on the customer themselves.
Exactly, and so Innofy can be run as just a very light discovery framework, but it can be also run as a way to generate a data strategy for a customer as well.
Excellent, okay. So just to, really solidify my understanding, can you give an example of a customer you've worked with?
Yeah, so there's a company called Compass Group. They're a very large multinational food and services organisation. And so we end up working with Compass Group Australia to help them identify what was the most valuable data and ML initiatives that they should be pursuing. So we ended up taking 2 of the different business units where we worked with the executives to identify over a 4-week period what were those initiatives. We identified 11 of them, and off the back of those, we produced that roadmap back to them, and the customer decided to actually invest in and continue forth with with executing that roadmap.
Okay, so 11 use cases, that's quite a lot for the customer to work with. How does a customer usually go about then implementing those use cases? And what did Compass Group do in this instance?
Yeah, so there's two options. The customer can either decide to do it themselves with some of the existing data science teams that they might have, or the other option is to be able to lean on the partner. And so what Compass Group did was to lean on Intellify to show them for the first initiative how it was done, so we could help them with training and upskilling, and then after that continue with a bit of a joint delivery model after that.
Excellent. So, a customer can basically start with zero machine learning knowledge, go through this discovery framework, and then learn as the implementation is ongoing and really sort of become more comfortable with machine learning as a domain.
Exactly.
Well, that all sounds really great. Thank you so much, Kale, for joining me here today. And, thank you for helping our customers on their machine learning journey.
Thanks for having me, Moose.
And thank you very much for watching. If you want to learn more about Innofy, there'll be a link in the description. And I hope you have an awesome day.